Well done, Podfeet. You did it.
I did it all by myself.
Wow.
I pressed the go live button.
And right on time is Lindsay.
Right on time. So, Lindsay, you're saying I did it better than Dad does normally, right?
Let's not make this into a competition.
Rose, no, I didn't forget my daughter's name after a gin and tonic. I forgot it after a martini, and that is an important distinction because martinis are way harder to talk after. So,
Something
it
about
wasn't my fault.
Something about the lack of dilution of that gin in a martini.
Yeah, it just goes right into your bloodstream. It's crazy stuff. That's why I'm not allowed to have martinis in the live show anymore. But it is time for roll call. I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to start over in the sidebar Discord. And is Zoe here? Zoe brings bacon? No, she's got a little thing on her. We got Rick and Mike Price and Rose and Lindsay the daughter and Jill. And who else is in there? Jason and Sandy. And then we've got Michael West Bay, Rick, and Jill.
I think you skipped.
Jill and
I think you
I'm
skipped.
in the middle of roll call, Steve. This is serious. You can't interrupt me. And Franco Carroll and Brett.
Oh, okay, there it is. I was waiting for Brett.
And Jason's back. You were waiting for Brett? He was last because I went
didn't
in
hear
reverse order.
Yeah, but he's in the. You don't see him in the list on the right?
Was in the sidebar? Yeah, I guess he is over there too. It's kind of hard to tell because there's a lot of. I don't know why people show up over there that aren't here. Like Donald Burr.
I think that's anyone who's part of the chat room but is logged into Discord, even though they're not maybe in this chat room.
Like they've ever been in the chat room. Now they show up as always being here.
I think. John made it.
All right. Who made it?
John Nassanut.
Nassanut, lovely to see you here. So, Kevin is not here. You'll notice again this week. He has actually been in the hospital, and he is taking a turn for the much, much better, and hopes to be back with us soon, but he is still in the hospital. Kind of a mess with his... he had a hip replacement, and some things went badly, and so they're way better now, is what we can say. So anyway, yeah, he's better.
Yeah,
So
his
that's
goal...
good. And he sends his love.
His goal is to be back home this week sometime and possibly make the chat room next Sunday. But
Yeah,
him getting better is primary here.
I think so. Yeah, but we got to actually talk to him on the phone, so we felt a lot better after hearing his dulcet tones.
I'm sure the wingman would say hi to all.
And I think he said, Allison, run roughshod over Steve, say anything you want.
Yeah,
don't even have to save.
It was something like that, yeah. So in the meantime, Rick, if you wouldn't mind filling in, if you're up for it.
All right. Well, let me do a little playback and make sure you guys can hear. Here, this should just be the intro music. Music. Probably talked about... Yeah, he talked about chapter marks as he was saying that I could say anything I wanted. All right. I think we are ready to start. I'm going to mute Stephen P. unless you have any last words before I do.
Nope, I don't believe so. Whoa.
There we go. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and hit it here. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, November 8th, 2020, and this is show number 809. Well, this week's Chit Chat Across the Pond was another installment of Programming by Stealth with Bart Bouchatz. We continue learning the version control system Git, and in this installment, Bart teaches us to travel through time. He had a lot of fun with the analogies, referring to Back to the Future more than once in his explanations. With Git, you can go back in time and see what your code looked like, but you'll end up with a detached head if you do. He enjoyed explaining what that whole thing is about, too. I especially liked learning that you can easily create an archive at a certain point in time that is just your code without all of the history. I've often needed to refer back to the way something used to work, usually because it's not working now. But anyway, with the archive, I can do it with a single command. You can subscribe to Programming by Stealth in your podcatcher of choice, and be sure to follow along with Bart's amazing tutorial show notes over at pbs.bartificer.net. My input gain is down. It was last week too. Why is that so low? Let me check that. Nope, that's where it should always be. Man, just a little low on the mic. I'll pop it up. Still not the parrot. Oh, not the parrot's here. Hi, not the parrot. So we definitely know. Let's see. Did anybody tell me to save or do a chapter mark? It's time to save. See, that's a polite way to do it, not yelling at me. You're allowed to talk right now, Steve.
I am talking. Do you have me muted?
I did have you muted. No, I had you. You could have unmuted yourself, though.
I guess I could have.
Okay. Copy. Using the lovely chapter mark macro. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, I wanted to see that.
Oh, too late.
Ah.
All right. Start it back here. Alrighty. I am going to do Watch Shot next. So yeah, Watch Shot has been up there for quite a while, but not plugged.
Is it evergreen?
Yeah.
Well, at least for a couple months.
Yeah.
Partially evergreen.
Well, it's pretty evergreen. All right, muting Steve. Wait. Unmuting Steve.
Yes, why?
Because I need to put in a chapter mark for this.
Oh.
And I forgot. All right, let's see. So I need to go back over here and smash down all my keys. And copy this one. Copy link. Copy. I wonder if that's ever going to get old. I really don't think it will. I think that will make me happy forever.
It shouldn't.
All right. Muting Steve. well. A few weeks ago, I wrote an article about all of the different things I do with my Apple Watch on a typical day. As I started making notes for the article over the course of a few days, I took screenshots of my Apple Watch that would demonstrate what I was trying to explain in the article. To take a screenshot on the Apple Watch, you simply hold down the digital crown and the side button at the same time. You'll see a quick flash to indicate that it has captured the screen and you're done. Now, one warning on taking screenshots. If you do this while doing a workout, for some dumb reason, the Apple Watch pauses your workout. This can be quite aggravating because, as I explained last time, it is not the burning of calories that we actually care about. It's getting credit for working out that matters. So if you do take a screenshot of your workout, be sure to resume it after you take the screenshot. Once you take a screenshot on Apple Watch, it will drop into your Photos library on your phone. I take a lot of screenshots, so it's super helpful that Apple Photos automatically creates albums of different media types, one of which is called screenshots. That makes this task so much easier than it would be to dig through all of your Photos library if you're trying to write an article or you want to send somebody a screenshot. Now, I could just drop these screenshots right into the blog post as is, but they wouldn't look very good. They're just barely not square at 324 pixels by 394 pixels. That's for a 40 millimeter Apple Watch. And they're so plain that they don't even look like a watch face. They look like a black rectangle with writing on it. Your reading experience on my articles would be vastly improved if the screenshots actually looked like a real watch face. Ideally, I'd like to add the frame of the watch and maybe a bit of the watch band added to the images. There's certainly manual methods to do this, and there are shortcuts that people have created to add frames to screenshots, but I found those shortcuts to be fragile and soon outdated. Now that we know the problem to be solved, let me tell you about a lovely little iOS app called WatchShot Screenshots, written by German developer Raphael Zehr. According to his blog, he originally created a shortcut to add the extra graphics to Apple Watch screenshots, but eventually he made it into an app, and I am so glad he did. WatchShot Screenshot is free in the App Store and runs on both iPad and iPhone. As Tim Verpoorten used to say, WatchShot does one thing and does it well. When you first launch the app, you'll see some line art representing a watch. Below that is a blue link button that simply says, choose a screenshot. After you allow access to all of your photos, you can scroll through recent images or use the Albums tab to navigate to the dedicated Screenshots album and choose an image. Once you choose the screenshot from your Photos library, you'll see page after page of options for which watch color, material, and band you'd like to add to the screenshot. You can go from a dark aluminum watch with a hyper grape Nike band, to stainless steel with an orange leather band, to a ceramic watch with a Pride band, to a titanium watch with a Meyer lemon leather loop. There are actually 64 different watch and band combinations in WatchShot. Once you take a watch and select a watch and band combination, you can simply tap the link/button that says Save Your Watch Shot, and that will put the new image into Photos, leaving the original screenshot undisturbed. If you don't want to save it to Photos, you can use the Share Your Watch Shot link or button to send the image. I keep stuttering on that. Do you call it a link or a button? It's a button, but it looks like a link. Let's see. Put the new image into Photos, leaving the original screenshot undisturbed. Why is that so quiet? That is really quiet. Let's see. If you don't want to send it to Photos, you can use the Share Your Watch Shot button to send the image to social media or store in Dropbox or anything else you can do in the share options. Your creation stays on screen after you save or share, which means you can go back into Choose a Watch with the same screenshot. For the screenshots for my article, I didn't want something crazy distracting, so I chose a rather unopinionated option of the illuminated... Okay, not illuminated. Jeez. Okay. Why am I so... This bugging me. Let me check hijack. Just... There's nothing on here that said... No, my volume should be up. The preamp. Hello? Nope. Preamp. Channel 1. Channel... Yeah, that's all the way up.
It'll get corrected, right?
What's that?
It'll get corrected when you do levelating.
Yeah.
Whatever you do now.
But it just... You like to start with as good of a source as you can.
Yeah, true.
All right. Muting Steve. Oh, he did it himself. If you don't want to save it to photos, you can use the Share Your Watch Shot button to send the image to social media or store in Dropbox or anything else you can do in the share options. Your creation stays on screen after you save or share, which means you can go back into Choose a Watch with the same screenshot. For the screenshots for my article, I didn't want something crazy distracting, so I chose a rather unopinionated option of the aluminum watch with a Delft blue band. Unfortunately, that particular combo is way down in the giant array of options, so it was a bit tedious scrolling through it every time I wanted to modify a new screenshot, and I was doing tons of them. Luckily, after just a few times through, I realized there was a Favorites tab. I only had to scroll one more time to choose my chosen watch and tap the word Favorite underneath it, and now I had a quick and easy access to the watch I wanted to use. There's one other curious option in WatchShot, and that's to download watch faces. Now, I'd heard that Apple was going to allow us to share watch faces, but I hadn't experienced it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work particularly well in WatchShot, and I don't know why. When I tap download on a watch face, I'm redirected to a Squarespace website to download the face, so I guess that's where he stored them, and then it opens the watch app on my phone. One of the faces I chose successfully did add it to my watch, but the other ones I tried came back with an error that said, watch face unavailable. So I don't know why. It's definitely not a big deal that downloading watch faces doesn't work well, because it's the ability to quickly and reliably add watch graphics to screenshots that's the power of WatchShot. I'm delighted that this free app exists, and I just wish he'd write one to add iPhone graphics to iPhone screenshots, because the shortcut I used to use broke in a recent iOS update. There we go.
So I want to know what Delft Blue is. DELFT. What?
Well, show the screenshot. That's
Yeah.
Delft Blue.
But where does the word? I guess I need to look that up. Never even heard of Delft.
That's what it said in WatchShot screenshot.
Delft.
It's hard to say. So I saw one typo in that, but I'm not going to fix it. Ooh, and there's a big mistake at the end of the show notes. When you get to the very end, it says WatchShot Ryan on G5.
Oh.
Espanza.
It's that. It looks like it's that color of blue you find in pottery. Not pottery. Glaze stuff. The glazing, the blue glazing.
I don't know. It just looks good to me. Oh, did you want to see? Oh, did you show? No, you didn't. Do you want to see the? I just did the chapter mark, but I can undo it if you want.
So there's a Delft Blue plate.
Plate? What do you mean? Oh, I see. Huh. Interesting.
Oh, I
All right,
missed the. Okay, ready, go.
Okay, I'll do it again. Okay. Actually, I think if I do that, can you see where it says Ryan gets new Apple kit?
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it. Okay, so I think Hindenburg has to be. Does Hindenburg have to be in focus? Maybe not. Let's find out. I just hit Command, Shift, Option, Control, and swung a dead cat around my head, and I'm going to copy link, and then copy. No, we confused it. I think that needs to be showing.
It needs to be in
Let's see, can we
focus.
do this? Yeah, but I think I'm allowed to do this. I can do it here, so I'm going to do a copy, and then a copy again, and now you should see it plop in.
There it is. It's a work of art.
It's the best thing ever, and I think I'll save. Oh, Delft
Oh,
is
there's
Dutch. It's
there's a
in
city Delft.
Holland. Interesting.
Delft is a more popular word than I give it credit for.
All right. So we are going to do. This is now Ryan is not in here, is he? Dopey one is Ryan Winkler. And let's just give a little bit of a listen here to this one. We have some time, and then I will goof around in the chat room. I think he introduces himself. Broke in a recent iOS update.
Hey, Allison. Ryan here. You sometimes see me in the chat as Dopey One. I keep hearing all these great reviews of new Apple hardware that you or one of your listeners has purchased, and I have to admit, sometimes I get a little envious. Today I want to talk about a purchase that I made for a piece of Apple kit and what I do with it. Let's start with the problem, or in this case, problems to be solved. Problem 1. I enjoy listening to audiobooks, and over the years I've collected quite a few. I actually started my collection when it was called Books on Tape. The issue there is I have all these tapes, but tape players are really kind of hard to come by these days. Problem 2. My family and my wife's family have purchased video cameras that were made by Sony or Canon in the 8mm format. My dad also purchased a newer version of the 8mm camera that was called High 8, which basically had better video and audio. Also, when my wife and I were married, I purchased a Sony Digital 8 camera. Now this camera actually had an onboard video converter that also had a FireWire port. You probably wouldn't believe it, but when I purchased that camera, it was over $600 at the time. I went ahead, jumped on the web, and converted that amount, and in today's money, that camera would be well over $1,000. I can't believe I actually paid that much money for that camera. Anyway, let's get out of the weeds and talk about these two problems. I would like to convert my books on tape and books on CD into digital format. I would also like to convert all of the family's 8mm, High 8, and Digital 8 tapes to digital format. Luckily for me, that Digital 8 camera that I purchased that has that FireWire connector on it, it can play those old 8mm, High 8, and the newer Digital 8 tapes, so I'm good there. These projects actually started with me using the family 2010 iMac running Mac OS 10.7, which was Lion. It worked okay, but I had issues with iMovie that caused longer playing videos not to sync up correctly with the voice and video, as well as the iMovie output file was some sort of strange QuickTime format that other non-Apple video editing softwares, they really didn't like the format and wouldn't import it correctly. The other issue I had was that someone would inevitably need to use the computer when I was trying to use Audacity to record those long-playing audio tapes. Years went by without any progress on those tapes, but I happened to be at a junior high school that was liquidating some old items in a yard sale. On one of those tables, what did I see but an old iMac G5 running Jaguar. That's Mac OS 10.2 for those of you who find it easier to keep track of the numbers rather than the names. Believe it or not, it even had a working keyboard, and they only wanted a small pittance for it. It did, however, have a note on it that said that the mouse was missing, and darn it, that hard drive really didn't sound very good. I purchased the iMac, went to my friends MacSales.com and purchased a 2GB memory upgrade kit, a 2TB hard drive, and a refurbished mouse, which they don't appear to have on their website anymore. Using the videos on MacSales' website and YouTube videos, I replaced the failing hard drive, which I found out later had many bad sectors, and upgraded the RAM to the maximum 2GB. Now I needed an operating system. Well, I jumped online and found someone selling the install CDs for Mac OS X 10.5 Leopard. I also found old copies of Microsoft Office for Power Mac and Toast, that CD burning software, so I had to buy all three of them. You know, the funny thing was, I don't think I even spent $40 for all that software. Now, with the freshly upgraded iMac PowerPC G5 running the latest possible version of Mac OS X, software version 10.5 Leopard, I jumped online and downloaded Audacity for PowerPC. I also splurged and purchased a new to me, Yamaha dual tape deck that only one of the two tapes actually worked. But it was only $15 with shipping, so I really couldn't pass it up. After purchasing the correct RCA to 1/8" cable for the audio and the correct FireWire B to mini FireWire cable for the video recorder, I was off and recording. Would you believe it? iMovie worked perfectly on that G5 iMac. That stupid QuickTime file format also wasn't used. And Audacity, it works like a dream with that $15 eBay tape player. The little iMac can just sit and run undisturbed, because no one in the house wants to use such an old piece of antiquated kit. Up to now, I've used this setup to convert stacks and stacks of 8mm, high 8 and digital 8 videotapes and countless audio tapes. The fun thing is, in my area, I've found that over the years, the local library and schools have sell off the old books on tape for like 25 cents or even less on the last day of the sale. Anyway, that's my review of one of my Apple purchases. The iMac G5 upgraded to 2 gigs of RAM, a 2 terabyte hard drive, running Mac OS X 10.5. Have a great day, and don't be too quick to get rid of that perfectly good, yet old, Apple kit.
Isn't that a cool story?
Yeah.
I love that.
I like it when people repurpose older hardware.
Yeah.
I guess
Sorry,
in this
Lindsay, but I
case,
think the Dolphins would make a really good water polo team. Wouldn't you think?
they would. I can just see him like on the water, like Flipper.
The Fort Lauderdale Manatees.
He'd make a great goalie. Oh, come on, John.
Oh my gosh, John. My brother Kelly emailed me that image. He passed away quite a few years ago, and I saved all of his emails, and I have that image. He sent me that.
That's good.
Wow. I got to remember to find that for you. They called him Flipper, Flipper, faster than lightning. There we go. See, I know that. All right. I need to say some nice things about Ryan now. Let's sign this up. Yeah.
Have a great day, and don't be too quick to get rid of that perfectly good, yet old, Apple kit.
Ryan, that was fantastic. I love your delivery. I love your story. I love everything you were trying to do, and I love that you resurrected this old machine. That is so cool. And plus, you did it for so little money. You know, just recently, a friend of Steve and mine ended up with an older iMac. I don't think it wasn't as old as the G5, certainly. But the guy didn't know how to use a Mac or anything, and it had some dead parts and everything. And Steve helped him get an operating system up on it, and it was a lot of fun. So, yeah, resurrecting old gear is a really, really cool project. And I think that was awesome. I really, really like it. Thanks a lot for sending that in. All right. So now I'm going to do Espanzo. This is going to be so nerdy.
You need a chapter mark here?
I do. Did you need to watch?
Yes, I've got you full
All right.
screen.
Okay, keystroke has been hit. Let me go up here and do a right-click copy link.
Thanks, Rick.
And see. Switches back. Boom, boom, boom.
Excellent.
Okay. Rick
Good
says,
execution.
well done, Steve. Yeah. You know, since Steve's the only one who can get in my ears, maybe he should be in charge of reminding me. Because I can miss you guys talking because I...
You know, the way it works sometimes is I see it in the chat room, and if you see it, I just let it go. But if you don't, then I mention it.
Yeah, I don't know. We had a bunch of misses the last... we forgot security bits last time.
Oh.
Well, I forgot. We need a shock button. Oh. Yeah, that would be great. Actually, Steve... you could put that video... hang on. We have time. I'm going to do something funny here.
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
This is where the show goes off the rails.
Nope, it's going to be good. Let's see if I can pull this off. Yep, here we go. See if this works. There, I'm going to upload this clip.
Oh, that's right.
Watch that video. Huh? How was that, Steve? That's because I named my photos. I could do that quickly. All right, I am going to could do the shock thing with Homebridge. Did the video work?
I didn't want to try it.
Well, I'm going to try it.
Well, I guess
oh, no,
it
it came in as a screenshot, didn't it? Well, that's lame. Shoot. Well, I'll do it again if it's a photo, not a video.
Discord does have limits on how big videos can be. I think it's 15 meg, maybe something like that.
Okay, that's okay. We're gonna do it again. Okay, I'll make it teeny. I'll make it 480p because it's that funny.
Try to make it a movie this time.
Shut up, Snipe. Let's see. Put it in delete me. Here we go. There. Upload. Okay, now it thinks it's a movie. I wonder when it went up that quickly, but it should be pretty small. It's like 2 seconds long, but it's slow-mo.
Yeah, that worked.
Did it?
Yep.
You can see it already?
Yep.
I can't see it yet. All right. Yeah, 2.2 megabytes. That should be okay. All right. It's time for me to keep
Tell
recording.
them why that happened. It's just we were in Utah. Maybe you've said this and I didn't hear, but it's extremely dry. I think
11% humidity.
Yeah, and so everything we touched, we were shocking each other and shock. She was touching a concrete or a stucco wall, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
How often
That
do
was
you
a
get
stucco wall.
How often do you get a shock from a stucco wall?
Yes, it was me and Steve laughing doing it. But everything we were touching the dog, everything. It was a mess.
Yeah, Saudi
Happened a lot in
Arabia.
Saudi Arabia too.
I can imagine. All right, let's move on.
All right, go away. Bye-bye. All right. One of the darlings of the Mac community is Text Expander from Smile. I think it's probably the number 2 highest app on my priority list of apps to install right after 1Password. If you haven't used Text Expander, the basic idea is that it allows you to type short abbreviations that trigger longer snippets of text to be spit out on screen. It does a lot more than that, but that's kind of the fundamental utility it provides. Personally, I wouldn't use a Mac without it, but I have found a super nerdy substitute for the basic utility of Text Expander. It's a free and open source project by Federico Terzi that he's put up on GitHub. It's called Espanzo. When I say nerdy, I mean it. Tighten your propeller beanies, kids. Espanzo is available from espanzo.org for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Installation of Espanzo is slightly different on the 3 platforms, of course, but I'll be talking about this from a Mac perspective. The documentation on installation and configuration is very good on the Espanzo website, so I'm sure if you're a Linux or Windows girl, you won't have any trouble figuring it out. I'm not going to go through the sequence of commands line by line because the Espanzo instructions to do it are just beautiful, but I'll describe the process of installation and use of Espanzo to get you kind of excited about the tool. We've talked a few times on the NosillaCast about using package managers to install nerdy stuff on the Mac using the terminal. We usually talk about using Homebrew from it's actually from brew.sh. Espanzo for Mac is installed using Homebrew. If you haven't used Homebrew before, it's crazy easy, if a bit nerdy. Once you follow the one-line instruction to install Homebrew itself from the terminal, from then on you simply type brew space install followed by the name of the software you want to install. For some apps, like Espanzo, you do have to add a tab to Homebrew. Lindsay will like that analogy there. So you add a tab to Homebrew before you can install the app you need. Adding a tab just means to add more repositories for Homebrew to look in to find the tool you want. To install Espanzo, you type in 2 separate commands in the terminal to add the tab and then install Espanzo. As with Text Expander, Espanzo also requires you to enable accessibility access in System Preferences, and then you're ready to play with Espanzo. The instructions are so detailed on the espanzo.org website that Federico even spoon-feeds you the accessibility settings you need to enable on macOS. Once Espanzo is installed, it will show up as a menu bar icon. 99% of what you'll do configuring Espanzo will be done from the terminal, so the menu bar app doesn't really do a whole lot. But what it does do is super important, and we'll get to that in a bit. In order for Espanzo to know what snippets of text you'd like to expand, you have to provide a file with those expansions. Espanzo does this with a configuration file in the YAML format. That's YAML. For people who like to know acronyms, YAML is a recursive acronym that stands for YAML Ain't Markup Language, and it's simply a specific way to format text. YAML has rules about what indents mean and what quotes mean and how to write comments. The Espanzo instructions give you an example configuration file to follow, and as long as you follow that format, you're going to have no trouble with it at all. The default configuration file is buried deep in your user preferences library. In your library preferences directory. So /user/user/library/preferences. And that's kind of a pain to remember every time you need to edit the file. But if you're happy on the command line, and you probably aren't still listening if you aren't, you don't have to remember where that configuration file lives. Simply type espanso edit at the command line, and the configuration file will open in the default editor for your operating system. So Nano for Unix-based systems like macOS and Linux, or Notepad if you're in Windows. When you save the configuration file, Espanso will restart itself automatically. Okay, I am now on my third typo, and I will not be able to remember 3 of those. It says, one problem, I should have added Espanso to my dictionary, and I didn't. So it's correcting it and calling it expanse, and it's Espanso. And I found 2 URLs that I forgot to turn into URLs. So I'm going to go fix both of those.
A great TV series, by the way.
What?
The Expanse.
The Expanse?
Only if you're into sci-fi.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Look for the next one. There it is. I swear I got all of these, but I didn't. There you go. Okay. Why is my audio so low? I bet oh, you know what? I see what it is. For some reason, the audio input in Hindenburg was down. Okay, where was I? This is such a cool tool. I really think this is fun. Okay, did I say restart itself automatically? File, Espanso will restart itself automatically. Okay. All right, here we go. The syntax of the configuration file for Espanso is pretty simple. Comments are made using the hash symbol, or you could call it number symbol, octothorpe symbol, whatever you like to call that little hash symbol. And making comments is a good way to help you organize your text expansions. In Espanso, these expanded pieces of text are called matches, and matches are generated using a trigger. If you want a match of, say, hi there to be triggered by :Espanso, you would write it just like this. You'd write indent -trigger : quote :Espanso unquote. And then you write replace on the next line with hi there in quotes. The format's in the show notes, but you basically have to really obey those indents, and you got to have it say -trigger, and it's got to say replace, and it's got to have colons after it. But like I said, once you see one, you know what they have to look like. It's really easy. In the example I just gave, the default trigger symbol suggested by Federico is a colon before the match, but he points out that on macOS, this can conflict with macOS's keyboard shortcuts, so you could get replicated expansions. He suggests using a / before your match instead if you use keyboard shortcuts on your Mac and on iOS. In the example file, they include the simple text replacement I just described, and also 2 examples that are a bit more complicated, and they show off the advanced power of Espanso. I am not going to try to read those out loud to you, because that one was hard enough and that was the simple one. The examples demonstrate how you can automatically have, say, today's date entered with a trigger, and even issue shell commands from a trigger in Espanso. Now, if you're a big ol' nerd, you can edit this configuration file using your favorite command line editor, like I said, Nano or Pico or another editor, or you can open the file from the Finder using a GUI editor like Hot Editor or Atom, or heck, you could even use TextEdit if you like. I created a couple of matches myself for my name and my signature, and the only tricky bit was learning to use /n to create a new line in my signature, and I was good to go. The community has created packages that can be installed into Espanso to extend its library of matches. Installing a package is super simple. For example, if you'd like to install the basic emoji package, use the command at the command line, Espanso install basic-emojis. Super simple. Now, Espanso has a hub where you can find packages to fit your needs at hub.espanso.org. They've got useful packages like Excel formulas, math symbols, and medical documentation, but even one to generate random dad jokes. I mean, who's not going to love that? There's even a package for Bart's favorite command line weather tool, WTTR. Click on a package in the hub and it will display the matches you get in this particular package. Note that all packages do have to be hosted on GitHub to be allowed to be used with Espanso. Now that means if you like one, but you want to modify it, you can fork it and make it your own. I installed the package for Mac symbols like Command, Control, Escape, and the rest of them, and now I can easily type them with a quick keystroke. Now, one thing that baffled me for a long time was how to see into the packages I had installed. They didn't show up in the default config file, and they're not in the user directory in that same folder. I could list them with a spanso space package space list, and it would tell me what ones I had installed, but where were they located on my drive? Without knowing where they were, I couldn't easily jump in and see what matches were available to me with a particular package. Sure, I could go to spanso.org, find the link to the hub, and then find the link to the package to find the link to the documentation, but I wanted to do it locally. The documentation on packages gave me no clues. Oh, I got a dry throat all of a sudden. More typos, by the way. Don't let me forget, I need to fix a lot more of the bunch of the links aren't set up. The answer was actually on the front page of Espanso, but when I was reading the front page, I didn't recognize it, so I kept looking in the package instructions. The way I did figure it out was I resorted to the Espanso subreddit, and I found someone asking the same question. In Terminal, if you enter Espanso space path, it will reveal the location of the config file that we've already been talking about, along with the location of the packages you have installed, which are in a completely different place, and the configuration data you have for Espanso. The packages live in your user library inside application support. Once I knew where the packages were, actually that doesn't completely define it either. I'm going to edit that a little bit. Nope. This one. Installation, YAML, click in there. In your user library, inside preferences / application support. You know what? I'm going to go back and pick up those.
Okay, who edited this?
I did.
Okay. I'll say no more.
Hey, none of these are typos you should have caught, Sandy. Sandy did find one typo. These are just where I forgot to change the URLs into real URLs. I don't like the way they're done with Markdown, so I don't put them in full in the way maybe they would work better than this. But if I missed them, X. Okay, clipboard. Let's see if I find any more. Nope. Okay, I'm good. I got to remember to push that up. So where was I? Once I knew where to look. No. Org. Find the link to the hub. Okay. Sure. Okay, I should start back there because, yeah, I kind of gagged a little bit there. My throat was getting dry. Okay, sure I could. Where was I? There it is. Sure, I could go to espanso.org to find the link to the hub, to find the link to the package, to find the link to the documentation, but I wanted to be able to do this locally. It seemed like I should be able to look at that file and see what's in it. The documentation on packages gave me no clues. Now, I did later on figure out that the answer to my question is on the main page of doing installation and the initialization of Espanso, but I didn't look there because I had already learned all that. And I was busy looking at packages, and that's where I thought I would find it. In the end, I found it on the answer on the Espanso subreddit, and I found someone asking the same question I had. In Terminal, if you enter Espanso space path, it will reveal the location of the configuration file we've been talking about, along with the location of the packages you have installed, which is in a different place, and the configuration data you have for Espanso. The packages live, by the way, in your user library inside Preferences, Application Support. Once I knew where the packages were, I could open their YAML configuration files and see what they included, and even modify them if I liked. One of the main reasons I wanted to do this was that the All Emojis package that I'd installed using the hub wasn't finding all of the expansions, and I wanted to figure out why. The match for example, : neckbeard : it was shown on the documentation page in the Espanzo Hub, but it wasn't doing a darn thing when I typed :neckbeard:. Once I found the config file, I was able to search for neckbeard and confirm it wasn't in that config file. So they're missing some. I did feel better knowing that it wasn't just me doing something dumb, and guess what else? I can add the neckbeard emoji into the package and make it work if I want to. Now, there are times that you have an application where you want to have very specific matches, and Espanzo provides a mechanism for that. You create an application-specific configuration file, and then in your main configuration file, you create a filter for that application. The syntax is simple and, as everything else, very well described in the documentation for Espanzo. Now, I've got more you can like about Espanzo. Have you ever been in a situation where TextExpander expands a snippet, but in that particular instance, that's not what you wanted? This happened to me the other day when I was trying to type 501 (C) close parenthesis, and the C in parentheses kept changing to a copyright symbol. Now, I'm not sure it was TextExpander, maybe something else was doing that, but it's really hard to get it to stop when this happens. You have to sneak up on it by typing the second half of what you want using the arrow keys to get to the front of it and then typing in the beginning bit. With Espanzo, though, simply hitting backspace after Espanzo triggers a match reverses the match and puts back the typed trigger text. I love this feature. I discovered it on my own when I instinctively hit backspace after a match expanded that I didn't want, and it fixed it. Now, if you know ahead of time that you want to type something that will trigger a match in Espanzo and you don't want it to expand, simply double press the Option key to temporarily disable Espanzo. Double tap it again to re-enable Espanzo. You'll even get a nice little notification from Espanzo telling you that you've disabled and re-enabled it. I really wish TextExpander had this feature to disable and re-enable TextExpander. Remember I explained that Espanzo had a very limited menu bar app? One of its primary features is to turn from a bold lowercase e to a grayed out e when it's disabled. You can tell at a glance if Espanzo is disabled that way. If you make an edit to your configuration file from a GUI text editor, you can also use the menu bar app to reload the configuration file. Of course, if you're editing from the command line anyway, you would just type Espanzo space restart. Espanzo very politely disables itself and notifies you of such when your browser has a password field open. This is caused by the macOS security feature known as Secure Input. It's quick and elegant the way Espanzo does it, and remember, you can glance at that menu bar to be sure Espanzo is covering its eyes while you type in your private data. As a result, Espanzo will not work in those situations, and Espanzo will trigger a notification, as well as logging it, to warn the user if an app triggers secure input. Now, in my limited experience with Espanzo, it seemed to re-enable itself more consistently than TextExpander does. When TextExpander gets confused about secure input, you can sometimes shut down every single application, and TextExpander still won't re-enable itself. The only thing I know to do is actually reboot the Mac. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with Espanzo, but TextExpander got confused just this week, while Espanzo, in the same circumstance, was fine. One of the things that nerds will appreciate about Espanzo is your ability to modify the application's behavior to your heart's content. Don't like getting notifications? Disable them from the command line. Like notifications, but don't want to see just the secure input notification? You can disable just that one. Don't like using the Alt key to temporarily disable Espanzo? You can change it to a different key. If you don't like having the menu bar icon, you can disable it in your configuration file with show_icon:false. The bottom line is I think Espanzo is a delightful contribution to the community and especially fun if you're of the nerdy persuasion. If you've always wanted to do something nerdy, this is a pretty easy way to get your feet wet. The instructions on the Espanzo site are very clear, and if you don't understand a particular option, just skip it. I skipped a lot of the options they described, and I just used the ones that made sense to me. Espanzo is also great if you've got limited funds and can't afford to pay for a TextExpander. I don't want you to get me wrong in my endorsement of TextExpander. It is still going to be my number 2 most important app. But guess what? I can have TextExpander and Espanzo on my system, and I can enjoy the best of both worlds. Check it out at espanzo.org, and if you like it, you know what else? Give the developer a tip. Doo-doo.
That was a long one.
It was a long one, but not that long. I'm only at 26 minutes. Okay,
We have a new series to watch. Recommended by Sandy and Rose.
For some reason, Parallels Toolbox just decided to give me a notification right in the middle of reading that. What is it? Uh-oh.
Queen's Gambit. I think Rose
What's
said
it
it's about a prodigy child, I assume, female chess prodigy.
Ooh. Oh, that's
So I assume it's a young woman or a girl. That would be cool.
Yeah. By the way, Not the Parrot, I totally agree. I think this year of Discovery is the best yet. I love the last season.
Jill brought that up.
Oh, just loved it.
I think they took it up a notch.
You know what? I'm going to make I've been actually trolling for a show to be on to talk about Tilly. I think Tilly might be the most important character because she's, one of the problems that women have is being taken seriously when we're acting like girls. Tilly has crazy red hair and she's got a little bit of a chubby face and she talks too much and she's all goofy and everything, and she's also freaking brilliant. And so there's a scene in the latest episode where
no spoilers.
It won't be, but Stammet is just like dissing her, and he's not respecting her and everything. And finally, he apologizes to her, and she gets like this little tear in her eye, and you think, oh, here goes the woman's going to be validated by the man. And he says, your contribution's always been excellent. And she looks at him and goes, yeah, I know. So she did not need to be validated by him. She is my hero. I loved her. That was fantastic.
But she did appreciate him finally acknowledging that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it didn't hurt that, but it
but
was.
She didn't need
it.
Just
she did not need it. That is the exact thing. That's the whole point. So I like
Michael
that.
doesn't mind spoilers. Save him time. No, we're gonna avoid spoilers.
Yeah, I don't think that was a spoiler, was it? I mean, it is a scene.
No,
but you
that's
don't know
not a
anything
spoiler.
else.
No, it's a little character development, but not a spoiler.
Yeah, but it tells you it's a great show. There was like whenever they get all into like Klingon stuff, that's just like, I don't know. I don't like. I've never liked.
What was that
Klingons.
sound you did? Wow, you can repeat it.
So I'm gonna do a quick support the show, and I want you to throw in for people the there's 2 screenshots, Steve.
In support the show? Oh yes, I see them.
Right after, yeah.
Got them. You want them separate or together?
Throw them both in.
But do you want them individually thrown in? So you're gonna.
They don't need to be separate. I mean, they can be at the same time. And I will explain what that is in just a moment. So we're gonna do a little support the show. Right, here we go. No chapter mark. Meeting Steve. This show doesn't have any ads because it's entirely supported by the generous pledges of listeners through Patreon. These lovely people pledge $1 or more a week because they learn a lot or are entertained by the NosillaCast or Chit Chat Across the Pond or both. If you'd like to be lovely too, head over to podfeed.com/Patreon and show your support for the fine work we do at the Podfeed Podcasts. All right. So I'm not going to read what you see next in the show notes, but go ahead and drop in the 2 pictures. Bart and I talk about, there was like no security news. So I got Bart talking about what did he think of the iPhone 12 Pro, because he just got one. And these are the 2 photos that we talked about during it. What he hasn't gotten a chance to use it very much because he like busted up his not hip flexors, but some muscles he says he broke them, but I don't think you can break a muscle. But anyway, he's not been able to walk. He can ride his bike, but he can't walk, which is odd. Anyway, we got talking about I was talking about the HDR capability, so I threw those 2 photos in. So that's why those are in there. Yeah, what happened to Picard? Oh, I guess what happened to everything else, huh? All right. I am going to drop in. You have your audio on, Steve.
Yeah.
But you're not talking.
Well,
Okay,
I listen sometimes.
To who?
You.
Yeah. That's a good one. Is Lindsay
Hey,
still here?
Why would you laugh at that?
I don't know. I don't know. It's funny.
Are you implying?
You don't listen to a thing I say anymore.
I
That's
do.
fine.
I just heard
Steve
what you
told
said.
me once. You told me once. You said you talk more than I could listen.
Well,
Those were your
Well.
exact words, dear.
well, at times.
Try to
It's
recover.
very few times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, let's hear how that sounds. I guess it goes right there. I think these probably want to go here up a little bit. Okay, I've got a security bits chapter. I wonder if I even forgot the music last time. Okay, let's see. Work we do at the Podfeet Podcasts. Well, it's that time of the week. Too long. I know.
You can do better.
Well, it's that time of
Uh.
too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's that.
Mm.
There's like a split second difference between too long and too short. Well, it's that time of the week again.
I'll let it go.
You want it a little longer, don't you?
A touch. I'd say a quarter second.
Okay.
Is it
Just
snapping?
keep doing it.
Is it snapping
No.
to a?
Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for. Too late, isn't it?
Yeah, a quarter second too late. Yeah. Okay. Eighth of a second
So-
sooner.
So watch the screen. You see this white
Wait, let
line?
me blow it up. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
You see the white line I'm moving around, right?
Yeah.
See that? Okay, so I can get it to snap to that white line, but I don't know where to put that white line. If I put it to there, so it'll snap to it there. Maybe Jill knows a better way. Well, it's that time of the
That's
week
good.
again. It's time for security. That was it. How do you time a quarter of a second? By doing it repeatedly until your father tells me it's perfect.
You kind of get used to it.
Oh, actually, I need to
Audio
check.
delays. Otherwise known as
Deadwood.
250 milliseconds.
Why does that say programming by stealth? Oh, shoot. No, I went to the wrong one. I want to go here. Let's see. How do I get to the chapters? Jill, what's the keystroke to get to the chapter I want to look at? No, I want to find that chapter.
Now you're putting her on the spot.
Okay, there. Oh, I should just be able to click on it. Okay, there. I clicked away. I want to make sure that the relative location of us. Jill says, Thanks, Jill.
Well stated, Jill.
Jill's always tell me how she knows all the keystrokes and everything. I don't know. That was good. To talk about this week, right, Bart?
I don't know what's going on. If I just lost the ability to read or something, but
Or maybe something else captured the world's attention this week.
maybe it is just that simple that everyone was too preoccupied with Pennsylvania to notice.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. So now I think that's the end.
Folks, stay patched so you stay secure.
Okay.
We didn't get a blip.
No blink.
No blink
I
at
cut
the-
off the blink before you. Before I
right.
started this. Sorry.
Can you
that
cut
was
it
a
off and
lot
put
of-
it? Can you cut it off and put it at the end? No, I'm joking.
It'd be a lot of undos. Wait, here.
Blink.
There we
There,
go.
Did you get it?
Much better.
Okay. I know you're not happy without it. Okay. All right. Time for me to bring it home. Well, that's going to wind things up for this week. Big thanks to Ryan Winkler for giving me that extra content, which again allowed me to have fun in Zion last week. So having that fun time to play around, I really appreciate your support. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions. And you, too, can do audio reviews if you like. You can do that by emailing me at allison@podfeed.com. And you can follow me on Twitter @podfeed. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. You want to become a Patreon like the lovely people we talked about? Go to podfeed.com/Patreon. want to maybe you don't want a continuing donation. You just want to give some money once. Go to podfeed.com/PayPal. Sorry, podfeed.com/PayPal. If you want to join the community, you know what? Stop. Starting over. Too many audio typos. There we go. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Big thanks to Ryan Winkler for sending in that audio review. That allowed me to have more fun in Zion last week, or this most recent week, so I really appreciate the support. You know, you too can send in an audio review, and how would you do that? You would do that by sending it to Allison@podfeed.com. You can also send in dumb questions and comments to me at that address. You can follow me on Twitter @podfeed. Now remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. Want to become a lovely Patreon like those people we talked about earlier? Podfeed.com/Patreon. Maybe you want to give a one-time donation. You don't want to do a recurring donation. Do podfeed.com/PayPal. If you want to join our community, you can join our Slack at podfeed.com/Slack or our Facebook group at podfeed.com/Facebook. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. We still miss you, Kevin. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. There we go.
So
And the last
Jill
bookmark-
said maybe she should do her own day in the Apple Watch segment. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, maybe a recurring thing of different people doing what do they do in
Yeah,
a
because
day.
it's a very personal experience. Everyone's going to have a different take on it.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. You know, everybody loves your reviews, Jill. You could, you know, you're one of those people who could read the phone book and we'd go, ooh, that was interesting. Kevin. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. A quarter of a second early. Just like that. I'm not
Let's
giving
check
you the
this.
opportunity to do that.
Do it again.
All right, it is 5:59. Am I allowed
Wow.
to take us out too, Steve?
We timed that one well. Well, we normally
That's cute, sweetie.
we normally don't. When you say take
don't-
us out, what do you mean?
I don't know. Do I? If I stop, if I
You
push
don't put-
don't go live,
no,
what
I-
happens? Dead air?
No, it would take us back to the splash screen and play music with the clock.
okay.
So I need to just stop the live stream, basically.
Okay, well, you're going to stop. I need you to stop the live stream in 27 seconds while I say
All right.
goodbye to everybody. Bye,
Oh,
Rose.
you wanted 6 on the button?
Yeah. Well, I
Okay,
mean, we started
give-
right on the nose.
Give me a countdown. I don't see a clock.
Yes, you do.
It's so tiny.
it's-
It's very tiny. Here, this will help.
You have a watch
How's
on your
that?
hand. Maybe,
That'll help.
Did you know you could do the clock
Okay,
on your hand?
3,
There